How you doing? Duff here. What you're looking at is one of my Samsung monitors, 27-inch monitor. Last week it started exhibiting this odd behavior where you would turn it on, and what it should be doing is the screen should stay on, and you should see the mode that it's in. But as you can see, what's happening is the screen's just flashing on for a few seconds. It'll do that a couple times, maybe 3 times, and then it just goes black and stays black until you know, it's still doing it right there. So anyways, what I did was, it's out of warranty. Yeah, it was like 2 months out of warranty, of course. So what I did was, I could have went and bought another one. I like the monitor. I don't like something that dies 2 months after the warranty. But the monitor itself, the picture is good, and I was pleased with it from that perspective. But what I did is I went out and bought on eBay a used monitor for $50 that you can see took a hit up here in the corner. So, but you'll notice that's what it should be doing. It should be keeping that analog on the screen all the time, and then go to this screen, which this one does not. So basically, what my thought process was is I'm going to take the guts out of this. Probably the power board will be the first thing I'll try. Maybe I don't know, the backlight. I have no idea what it looks like inside. Never taken one of these apart, so I'm not really sure what I'm getting myself into. Is this even on the screen? Yeah, it is. I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into, but that's what I'm going to try to do. And my plan is to practice taking them apart by taking apart the damaged one first, and use that as a learning curve. So let me disconnect the power and see how tough it is to snap the back off here. Okay, when I look at the back, I see one screw. So I assume that's got to come off. But I assume the rest is going to be kind of like unsnapping it, because that's the way a lot of things work nowadays. Just unsnap it. So there's my one screws out. And I have some, these are actually trim tools for cars, but I'm hoping to use them to pop it out. But I see some pry points here. So I'm going to try prying there and see what happens. Just popped one out. Does indeed appear to be a bunch of unsnapping that you're doing. This has to come off as well. There's one screw in here, you probably can't see it. I'm sure. I don't think that really did anything. No. I think I'm just going to keep working around in the corner here. Looks like the best plan of attack. Having something like this would be a good idea. Like if you use just a screwdriver, I guess it would work, but you'll be more likely to damage the plastic. Oh wow. Okay. So it looks like we have main driver board there. That's going to be pretty easy to take out. And then down here is probably the backlight, so down here. So I'll first try just replacing that board. Since the power does plug into it, that would be a likely source of failure. So let me get that out. Okay, that connector and that connector, you just use a little screwdriver to pop up the tab on these to release them. This one on this side, you just flip up this black part of the connector and this should just pull loose. Yeah, just pulls loose, and then it's just 1, 2, 3, looks like 3 screws. So I'm going to just take that out and we're going to give that a shot first. Okay, I have those 3 screws out. They should just lift out. Yeah, wow, nothing to it. It would be really sweet if that's all that's wrong, is replacing that board. So I'm going to now put my non-working monitor up here and pop the back off and do the same thing. Okay, here's my original monitor. I'm going to be undoing these connectors. You can see how easy that was. Taking the screws out. I don't see anything component wise in this board that's like obviously fried or anything. Like I've read that sometimes like it's obvious, you can see like some capacitors that are no good. They'll look burned or damaged in some way, but I don't see that right now. It could just be the backlight, and hopefully replacing that is not as bad either, but let's try the easy thing first. Okay, 3 screws out. Okay, do not see anything wrong with that, but I'm going to put the one from the other monitor back in. So basically I'm going to put this in, hook it up, and obviously I'm not going to put the back on, just hook it up to power and see if my problem is fixed or not. So let me do that. Okay, so without the back on you can't really make it stand upright by itself, so I'm just going to do this holding it, plugging the power in. Okay. Not looking good, doing the same thing. Okay. That's hard to do. Okay. All right. So obviously it's not that little board in the middle. So now I'm going to see if the backlight itself is a standalone device. I'm hoping it is. Hoping these this area down here has the backlight, I hope. There's a number of screws here that's come out, so I'm going to work on getting those out next. There's a bunch of these little screws. There's a small arrow pointing to each one, so it's not too hard to figure out what you got to remove. So far this thing looks like it's designed to be pretty easily serviceable. Alright, so that's all of the screws, so let's see what happens now. Yeah, okay. That whole back piece comes off. Nice. So you'll see under there, there's one more board. 3 connectors. You see 1, 2, 3 screws in the bottom that probably hold it on. So I'm hoping this is the driver board for the display, and that's all that's really probably the end of what I'd be able to fix myself. How's that coming out? Okay. One connector out. That piece just lifts out, and I'm wondering, I probably need to replace this as well just to be safe. Another small connector over there. You're going to need a really small screwdriver to get those out. Very small Phillips head for those, which I know I have somewhere. Yeah, like a jeweler's kit. Screwdriver would probably work well. Oh, it's tight. That's tight. With a jeweler's screwdriver, it's hard to get traction. You don't get a lot of torque on these. Okay. Screws are very small, don't lose them. Pain. Sticky tape for taking off. Probably just peel this back, you don't really need to take it all the way off. I'm just looking for obvious problems. If I see any burned chips or anything, I do not. How does that connect there? Oh boy. That is just taped in place there. Okay. So now the question is, how do those come out? Okay, so with those 4 screws out, you can manipulate this. How does that work? Oh boy. I'm not sure, but it almost looks like these are permanently attached to the screen. Oh, whoops. Did I just break that? Yeah, I did. Alright. Alright, I just accidentally broke that piece off there. But we can fix that if I need to. Alright, so I don't think these come off. Alright, so basically I'm just going to take this piece off of the other one. Just a pinch connector. Alright, so let me just switch out. I'm just doing the same thing on the parts monitor. Alright, so here's the same board from the other monitor. Okay, so I need to put these screws back in. So I mean, since even though I broke it with the screws, it would actually hold it in place. So let me put the screws back in, hook it up, and then apply power and see if I get lucky. But at this point, I would not think I will. These little back screws are really small. So to, just FYI, to replace just this small board, you don't need to do everything that I just did. You don't have to take these screws out to replace it. No, there's the little connector here is flush, and somehow it's dropped down on this side. My guess is when I was prying this around, whatever the connector is that goes there came loose. So I need to undo what I did. I'll be back when I have some more interesting stuff. Alright, this is my mystery. You see that hole there? That's where that cable goes, or it was. And when I put it in there, it felt loose, and that's because there's no connector in there. When I look at the one I got for parts, there's a connector there. So I took this one back apart, thinking, oh, it must have shifted, or, you know, when I was peering in there, maybe something got moved around. There's nothing in there. There's no wires, there's no connector. There's nothing, so I'm really confused. So I'm going to put it back together. I'm just curious what's going to happen. I'll plug it in and see what happens. It's a mystery, though. I really don't get this, because these should look identical every other way, so who knows? If nothing else, it'll be an interesting science experiment. Alright, the camera's been off for a while because I've been busy. What I actually did is, like I said, this connector on the old monitor, I don't see it. I don't see it fell off. I don't know if it broke when I pulled it out, but I don't see that side of the connector, which can't be a good thing. So anyways, what I've done is I've actually pulled the screen from my monitor, just the LCD screen, which is what's connected to this board here, and I've set it into the guts of the one that had the broken screen. So I still have my electronics on here for the board, so this whole thing might have been just a big waste of time, but I'm going to see what happens. So let me get this back together somewhat and I'll report back. Okay, crappy camera angle, but I have this stuff back together. This is the old Well, no, this is the broken monitor that I got off eBay. But I have the screen from my monitor in here. So let's see what happens now. It's on. Oh no. Stay on. It's still on. No. Wait, no. There you go. It's working. You don't see the... nice. Well, kind of. Doesn't look like it's put together right. Well, yeah, okay. The screen's just not on right. That's actually... whoops. No, no. That's actually working. Huh, imagine that. Weird. It looks like... I'm confused why that's working. I'm not complaining, just confused. Okay, I'm gonna try to put this together right. The bezel off the old one is a little screwed up, but the bezel on the new one, or on my old one, is still screwed up as well. Because I kind of broke it as I took it off. So let me put it all the way back together and see what happens. Cool. Alright, if you want to see what the bare screen looks like, I don't know if you can see the crack. Yeah, you can see it. This is where this is the one I got off eBay, where the crack is. But this is all the screen is. There's that circuit board and the screen. Very thin actually. And it just lays on top of a couple layers of plastic inside the housing. So all I'm doing now is I'm reversing the installation process, putting these screws back in, and I'll snap the back on. And if this works, you know, it doesn't, the front bezel is a little messed up, but as long as the picture's good, it's good enough for me. For 50 bucks, I'll live with it. I think, I wish I could definitively say exactly which thing I did fixed it. Because remember how I talked about how the connector down here, the socket was gone, and when I looked at the cable I pulled, when I looked at the cable I pulled, it almost looked like I may have somehow pulled the connector out with it. That was actually in the body of the monitor. I don't know. All I know is it was MIA. And this one has it, and I plugged it in and it works. So might be another one of those unknown mysteries. Alright, so let me just continue here and I'll come back with a final verdict. Just lots of pressing and clicking. Okay, it's back together. Let's plug it back in. Okay, I just noticed the camera died right in the middle of that last segment. It's working, as you can see. Got my steady box on the screen. It's not flashing anymore like it was. Looks like the only issue is there's a little bit of brightness in that corner there where it was damaged. But it doesn't look bad. I imagine with the picture on, you won't hardly notice it all. So the final outcome on here, basically what I did is this is all the monitor from eBay except for the screen. This is what I actually replaced. This is from my monitor. So what that tells me is there's probably something in here in the driver panel that was bad, and you cannot replace this. You have to replace the whole screen. So that is my final diagnosis. And although the outcome is not perfect, it's workable, and I think this will just be fine because I have a 2 monitors set up. So I'll just have this on my secondary monitor on the right hand side, and I'll hardly even notice it. So it's good. Saved myself a couple $100. It's not good as new, but it's pretty darn close. And that was interesting, ripping a monitor apart. I'm not sure that I've ever ripped apart an LCD monitor before, so that's how you do it. That's how I did it. Doesn't mean it's the absolute best way, but it was an interesting experiment. And I'm going to hook this back up to my PC. Okay? So that's it. Till next time. Duffman, out.